Hey everyone, it's Andy with the Reverb Tone Report. Hope you're doing great. I want to talk about something as guitar players we seem to do right off the bat no matter the skill level, and that's develop our own set of preferences when it comes to guitar specs. However, commissioning a custom guitar is not always within reach. So today I want to talk about a great alternative that is not only cost effective, but it gives you some great skills along the way, and that's building a Partscaster. I'll be using a couple of visual aids which are genuine Partscasters built by my dad, Red Tail Guitars. Not usually his normal thing, but I personally learned a lot through those experiences and a lot of how guitars are made and some of the challenges. And I'll also be showing you some great shops you could find right here on Reverb to source all your parts. Let's start with the two main ingredients for any Partscaster, and that's the body and neck. Hopefully these will fit together like a glove, and we have Leo Fender to thank for really starting a standard neck pocket design that a lot of these companies like All Parts, Mighty Mite, and Warmoth really adhere to when it comes to these styles of guitars. With the body selection, a big part of it is going to be the type of wood, obviously, alder, ash, basswood, and these all affect the weight as well. For the neck, you'll want to make choices on fret size, the profile of the back of the neck, as well as the radius of the fretboard itself. Another Reverb shop I'd recommend for your Partscaster is the Stratosphere. You can find anything from aged pick guards to pickups, and even actual Fender necks and bodies, so you know they'll fit right from the start. Some other things to check off the list is to make sure that your neck scale length matches the intended style of your guitar. For instance, this T-style guitar has a 25.5-inch scale length, and most Gibson style guitars have 24 3/4 inch. However, there are some really cool conversion necks from Warmoth that enable you to have a T-style guitar with a shorter scale length or a longer one like a baritone, which is just a bit over 28 inches. If any of these steps seem daunting or you just don't have the time, there's other options out there. Shops like MJT on Reverb offer kits with fully assembled bodies and necks and a variety of genuine nitro finishes. You just complete your dream guitar by installing the pickups and electronics. After you've got your body and neck selected and hopefully joining up really nicely, the next big stage is selecting hardware. This is pretty much everything that gets screwed onto the body: tuners, bridge, pickguard, knobs, and jack plate. One of my favorite shops to check out on Reverb is Tricked Out Guitar. They have a large selection of aged relic parts, so if you're into building a guitar with that pre-worn look, definitely give them a visit. Next, I've grabbed this Strat style Partscaster, and something we learned along the way is that Fender actually has two different types of string spacing. It depends on where the guitar is actually built. Standard Fender wide spacing is 2 7/32 from E to E, while narrow spacing is used on imports with 2 1/16, quite a bit of difference. It's best to measure the spacing from center to center on the actual heads of the intonation screws rather than your saddles. At the stage of pickup selection, here's where you have a great opportunity to really create a unique voice for your guitar. But you do want to make sure, if you're buying them separately, that you have them matched up in terms of polarity and wind direction. In the case of any kind of Strat style guitar, usually the middle pickup is the odd one out, and that it has a different polarity with the magnets and wind direction. And this gives you those hum canceling sounds in the 2 and 4 positions. Something you might want to find on a Reverb shop is a pickup polarity tester. It's just a magnet inside a capsule, and the simple thing about this is that you just hold it over the pickups and it flips over and gives you a color of black or white to tell you the direction of the magnets. There's your middle pickup being out of phase and giving you those hum canceling settings. And pickups are not always a universal fit. If you want a humbucker in a Strat style guitar, not only do you have to route out the body, but you have to make sure it has the correct spacing, since a Gibson style humbucker is narrower than a Fender. So this is where F-spaced humbuckers come in. The poles are wider so that they line up with the strings and provide the intended balance in terms of output and tone. These are also called trembuckers. So far with your Partscaster build, it's requiring a lot of measuring and assembly skills. Well, the next step, which is dealing with the electronics and all the wiring, really requires that you get good at soldering and also have a proper soldering iron with a fine tip and preferably temperature adjustment. Even if you know how to solder, there's always a possibility to overheat components, melt wires, or worse, destroy your pickups. Harnesses from the likes of Gun Street Wiring and Mojo Tone have saved me lots of time, and they really help keep all the wires looking very tidy. They also use high-quality pots, switches, and caps. Plus, it makes it real easy if you want to try some common mods like series and parallel or coil splitting. And you have peace of mind that they'll wire it right the first time, which, let's face it, doesn't always happen if you're just starting out. So after you've got everything assembled and wired up, the most crucial stage, of course, is the setup. Even though your neck came with a nut probably pre-slotted, it's always a good idea to get yourself some great nut files that'll last a long time. I, for one, have used these for quite a few other projects and even brand new guitars because nuts from the factory really leave a lot of material so you could do what you want with them in terms of string gauge or height. Ever since my dad started building, we had StewMac to help us out, and you could find them all over Reverb with essential tools and accessories. Other essentials for setup are truss rod wrenches and Allen wrenches and screwdrivers to adjust your bridge height and intonation. Speaking from experience, I can tell you that building a Partscaster is a really rewarding thing. Not only do you end up with a custom spec guitar, but you learn a lot of skills and end up with a lot of tools that you could use on future guitars. So, good luck, read some articles right here on Reverb, and don't forget to scour those recommended shops, and leave some comments below on anything that you may have run into that helped you build your Partscaster. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.